This is Toni.
Hi, Toni. It's David Coverdale. Happy Mercury retrograde.
Oh, isn't that supposed to be bad luck, though?
No. Look at my Twitter account. I let people know like the simple guide to how to deal with Mercury retrograde. It's basically an cosmic anomaly that the universe throws at us when we least expect it, 3, sometimes 4 times a year for 3-week periods. When if something could go wrong, it most likely will. And I'm very happy that we haven't started rehearsing yet. Because usually it starts when I'm on tour. It's like, oh my God, and I have to go around the crew and tell everyone. Because whether you believe in astrology or not, no one is exempt. There's positive aspects to it as well. But as Virgo is my ruling planet, I'm like Marilyn Monroe in The 7-Year Itch with the skirts around her neck, for 3 weeks.
So you're super into it. You really know. Have you studied this astrology?
Well, kind of, yes. There's an awful lot of quivers in my arrows in my quiver. Jesus, I can't speak. Can we do this in an hour when I've woken up and the coffee's kicked in?
We totally can. Whatever you want to do.
When did we speak, Toni?
We have actually. I was going to say this in our introduction, but you just came at me, so I'll just throw that in there now.
I will. You should get that tape running. I just start straight away, darling.
It's going. It's going. We got all of this. Don't you worry. I got you. But we have David We have David Coverdale joining us.
David Copperfield, magician and singer extraordinaire.
We have David Coverdale.
Master of illusion.
You threw me off. All right, I am officially off my game. Joining us on Loudwire Nights.
That's good. I'm delighted to hear. Yes.
It's the first time ever, so very, very excited to have the Whitesnake frontman joining us. I was going to start by asking you, how are your knees? But given that you guys are going to embark on a world tour starting in April, I guess you're all good there.
Well, yeah. I've been suffering from degenerative arthritis for, I hate to say it, probably close to 10 years. And I knew I was in trouble around 2008 when I do a little bit of yoga. So I tried to do child's pose and oh my God, it was really painful. I was going, wow, what's wrong with this? So for most of that period, I was putting Band-Aids on it, like injections for this and that, pain meds and got away with it pretty much. But during my South American tour in 2016, I really felt the bone on bone, and it was impossible for me to stay in the zone while I was performing because the pain distraction was just outrageous. And I discussed with my wife, Cindy, that I really think if I don't address this matter immediately, I'll be an unfortunate recipient of a wheelchair, which I don't like to see in my future. So January 2017, I had the right knee done, and May 2017, I had the left one done. And then it was supposed to be a year of recovery. I wrote 18 new songs, put the Purple Book together, the Unzipped box set, the 87 box set. We did 8 successful projects and started the recording of the new studio album. So it wasn't exactly recovery.
Yeah, not at all.
I was very much in fear, Toni, as you can imagine, after having titanium knees, both knees. I was doing physical therapy every day, but 3 primary times a week, every week. And it was, painful. So when I was invited to participate in my friend's foreigner's summer tour last year, I thought, well, this would be a great idea to audition and test drive the knees, because I was only doing an hour, and my surgeon was cursing me. No. I thought we agreed 2019. He said, don't do any bending and rotating. I went, for God's sake, Brad, that's what I do.
Yeah. It's a rock show. It's
the only thing missing was a squash racket. It worked absolutely perfectly. We had an incredibly successful time. So I felt confident enough to tell my agents to look at the Flesh and Blood World Tour, and I can't wait. A lot of people, it's very important for me to tell people, because Whitesnake's a global act. And for us not to go to South America, not to go to Japan, not to go to UK and Europe, and I couldn't say anything until I found out that my knees worked. because I didn't want my agent having to deal with every promoter on the planet going, well, how's his knees? And so fortunately we got through, and so hope God willing it's gonna be fine, because I'll be kicking as much ass as I can at these delicate years of my life.
I love it. I love it. You have the best attitude. All right. We want to talk about the 35th anniversary of Slide It In, right? So one of the things
that's older than you, Toni. It's amazing.
How did you know?
Must have been I think I was 9 or 10 when I wrote Slide It In,
That's so true. That's so true. I'm so much younger than that.
Can you believe 35 years?
Yeah.
Yesterday was the 41st anniversary of the very first Whitesnake gig. Quite amazing. Every day's an anniversary when you get to my age.
I saw you do the unboxing of the Slide It In, the Ultimate Special Edition, your usual humor and charm. Was there a particular moment? Because I know you were looking at everything for the first time. Like, what were some of the memories coming back, the most positive of memories?
Well, the actual, very touching. I mean, really, you look at it, and it's heartbreaking for me, because 50% of the band who made the record with me has passed away. So looking at pictures of people who I truly loved, and still love, actually, not loved, not past tense at all. What happened was we were putting all these elements together. Yes, you're quite right. I hadn't seen the finish. They rushed the production of that in order for me to do the unboxing. Because I think it's released March 10th, 8th or 10th.
It's on the 8th.
I'm not sure. So,
it's March 8th.
Yeah. Okay. So I brought this young, hip gunslinger called Christopher Collier in, because I was so over close to the Flesh and Blood record. I needed fresh ears, fresh vision to work with, and he brought it. Beautiful fresh coats of sonic paint, and and all I had to do was go, oh, you missed a bit here, or yeah, it was glorious. And what I thought would have been at least 3 weeks or a month was 7 days.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going, well, now what are we going to do? And I sat there, and my muse whispered, ask him if he's heard of the Slide It In album. And he's a young guy; he's just turned 40. And he went, are you kidding? It's my father's, this is how old I am. It's my father's, thank God it wasn't his grandfather's favorite album. It was his dad's favorite album, and he's heard it since he was either 6, 7, or 8 on cross-country drives with the one cassette his dad had, over and over and over again. So did he know the Slide It In album? Probably better than I. And so I said to him, would you fancy doing a remix with me? A 2019 remix for the 35th anniversary box set. And he went, oh my God, my father would wig out. So we'd had all of the analog tapes transferred to digital, because my home studio is a huge Pro Tools high definition, but all digital studio. Mm-hmm. And for the first time in 35 years, Toni, I got to hear the individual tracks, myself singing without accompaniment. But what was incredibly touching was how incredible John Lord sounds. Just amazing. That his left hand was part of the sonic identity of the greatest Deep Purple, and certainly he brought that when he came to work with me in Whitesnake. A phenomenal man, a great mentor to me, as was Ritchie Blackmore. And a joy to know. And then Cozy Powell's Panzer Division of Tanks. So while we were mixing, I'm very kind of intuitive, and I started to feel like the hairs on my arms and the back of my neck, and I totally felt the presence, the energy of Mel, Cozy, and John in the room with us. And Christopher felt something, and he said, are you okay? I said, oh my God, we're getting such validation from these. I could feel it as if they were standing there in the room. Like I could see one of them with his hands on Christopher's shoulders, with supporting us in this scenario. So that was an extraordinarily profound moment 35 years after the event. And still touches me as I discuss it. So that was the huge tear open your heart, John Hurt in Alien when the thing bursts out, but that was my heart instead of an alien. It was an astonishing, emotional experience.
Thank you for that. And as you're reliving the band's past, you're also looking forward to the future, right? Flesh and
Oh,
Blood,
yes.
the band's 13th album that arrives May 10th. 13 tracks
Yes.
on it. We've already heard Shut Up and Kiss Me. People loving kind of
Darling.
like, it has a very like 80s Whitesnake. Like it's a great, feel good, fun song. Is that what's kind
Thank
of
you.
indicative of the rest of the record?
Oh no, absolutely. The rest of the record, it actually all the threads for every song I can trace back as the guy who found Whitesnake and structured all the elements I wanted to be able to feature within that framework after the kind of creative restrictions I had with Deep Purple. You know, if I wrote a song for Beyonce, I'd so totally look at not putting anything about me in there and everything about her. So the songs that I write all need this hard rock, rhythm and blues, hooks, melodies, emotional and physical themes that people can identify with and stuff. Because, you know, the stuff that I experience in my life is certainly not unique. For instance, a song like Here I Go Again, I've never heard so many stories of how that song helped somebody through a tragedy or a broken relationship, was part of the backdrop of their lives. It's extraordinarily humbling. So I'm really very careful and very precious about our stuff, that my musicians get to shine as individuals, but the group is the important thing. The group is the big picture. And this group is fantastic. Jared Beach, Joel Hoekstra, Michael Devin, Tommy Aldridge, and Michele Lupi. Tommy's been with me over 30 years. Outlasted 2 marriages. It's extraordinary. I should have married him. But it's fabulous. It's the first time I've written with Reb. It's the first time I've written with Joel. And it's, I think, going to be regarded as one of the best, certainly in terms of the songs and stuff. You've got what they call the standard album. So you're missing Can't Do Right for Doing Wrong, which is a cool Whitesnake blues that Reb and I wrote, and a song called If I Can't Have You, Joel and I with a bludgeon of a riff going through the song, and lots of harmonies. I've really utilized 3 of my guys are certainly good enough to be lead singers in their own right. And Michele Lupi, our fabulous keyboard player, is a music teacher and a vocal coach. So he brought his orchestra and his absolute beautiful voice. Reb is a super singer. So you've got this almost Queen-like harmonies with terribly butch drums and guitars. You know, it's good. It's very fulfilling. It's very fulfilling for me as an artist at this time in my life. I'm very happy. And I agreed to show on iTunes like 90 seconds so people can get a decent taste of what's going on, you know. Anyway, sorry, Toni.
No, please. It's all about you. The group Shining is obviously it's
my
all
wife
about
accused me of that this morning. Go on.
It's all about the group Shining, you say, but in the video, I have to ask, the star is the freaking Jaguar from Here I Go Again, which you brought back.
Yeah.
Do you like?
Didn't she? Oh God, what happened to sexy cars? You know, that you see that car turn around the corner into the alley going to Club Snake. Is that a sexy looking vehicle? But that car could get laid on its own.
Absolutely, it could. Which brings me to my next question. Do you drive it around, or what does it do when it's not starring?
No, it's been in storage for 30 years. Actually, it was such an iconic situation. There was a guy many, many years ago, oh my God, 25 years ago, was negotiating with me to buy it for the Hard Rock franchise. And I thought, oh, that'd be cool, you know, because it cost me, even though it's in storage, it still costs money, as you know. So unfortunately, he passed away, and I don't think the Hard Rock franchise really took on any more of that buying expensive stuff from Gene Simmons or, you know. So it's been in storage, and it was perfect. As if it's been in storage for 30 years, in time for the Shut Up and Kiss Me video. And the good news is I could still get into this raw silk jacket. I know. Amazing. So the first idea was to park it outside a mall and just have people, because everybody knows the car, Toni. It's astonishing. So all of the extras we brought in, friends of friends of friends, they all wanted pictures with the car. It was hilarious. And I looked at Tyler, my director, and I went, all we have to do is just take your shoes off, girls. That's all. But no, the first idea was to put it outside a mall and just invite people to join. And my co-producer, Michael, said, it'll be ruined, it'll be trashed. So we did it in a more controlled environment and just said no, because there's no negative aspects about the Here I Go Again video. This is literally just for fun, and it's been eaten up. We're way over 800,000 views in 3 weeks, which for a classic rock act is pretty special. The record companies beyond. I think I looked in the dictionary under the word ecstatic, and there's a picture of my two guys at Frontier Records.
Speaking of Here I Go Again, it's in that new Geico commercial, which is a hilarious commercial.
Oh, yeah.
But I wonder...
271 million views the last I was told.
So good. It's so funny. Nuts? But I wondered, have you ever turned down, an offer to... Okay, because you didn't believe in the product or whatever the case may be.
Well, one of the things you have to be aware of, that record sales aren't what they were. So really, in order to keep a band economically alive and not only surviving, but flourishing, you really have to look at all different avenues of potential income. And Whitesnake has a very significant catalog. We do a lot of stuff with Is This Love for cars in Korea, Korean people looking at the cars at a drive-in with an arm around the passenger seat singing Is This Love, And I'm very discerning about it because the song's way too important. But the only one, the big one I turned down was a poop load of money, no pun intended, for a Canadian fiber cereal for 6 very significant figures, because I didn't want to be playing Vancouver, start Here I Go Again, and everybody clutch the stomach and rush to the bathroom. So you do have to be discerning.
I love that. Oh, my God. You kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. You got the Deep Purple gig, 21, 22, an Unknown Singer. When you look back at those early years, did you, in your heart of hearts, know that you would be one of the lucky ones that was going to be able to maintain longevity in this industry?
Oh, God, no. I would have lost $1 million as I was approaching my 30th birthday. And the irretrievable breakdown of my first marriage, which is what Here I Go Again and Crying in the Rain, those two songs are about. I wrote them in Portugal, on the Algarve. And what I would normally do is rent a villa or private house somewhere and take my very young daughter. I have a picture on my Twitter account of my daughter sitting there as I was actually writing Here I Go Again by a kidney-shaped swimming pool. But yeah, we were in separate rooms, sadly. And it was just, now it's like this punch in the air rock anthem wherever we go throughout the world. It's the Whitesnake choir just takes over the song. It's extraordinary. But no, I didn't. I thought, and I was coming up to my 30th birthday, and I thought, he's over. I'd already had a good run, but I really thought 30 was it. It used to be like a tennis player. You had 3 to 5 really good years. Look at Federer, just won his 100th match. Just fantastic championship, excuse me. So yeah, I'm just feeling the most blessed, fortunate guy on the planet, incredibly solid and loving private life from which I can launch and be David Coverdale, rock and roll singer, frontman for Whitesnake. It's all green in the garden, all blooming, apart from here in the weather.
And it shows. Some musicians, not everybody, but a lot of people who have been in the industry for decades, they have this kind of can't be bothered, some of them attitude, but you're always joking.
You shouldn't be bothered with them. I mean, really, I'm running on such positive energy and compounded by having a great band, a tour that looks very successful, the pre-orders for the Flesh and Blood album, also the 35th anniversary are fantastic. We got 2 albums at the top of the Japanese pre-order charts, which is Flesh and Blood and the big box set. It's and the video's going crazy. I just posted, by the way, I don't know whether they're Chinese or Japanese or Korean, but a band called Egg Shrimp are doing a really good version of Kiss Me. Hopefully we can play it that good live.
That's so random.
But the other thing I got to tell you before, the video, I don't know whether you're aware, is also a family affair.
Yes.
That beautiful guy in the glasses who's kissing the gorgeous woman in the cat suit that glitters. That's our son Jasper. who's just graduated from acting and drama school.
Congratulations.
And his girlfriend, Amaya. So, you know, I'm not sure it would have been right for me to have kissed anybody other than my good lady wife. But having my son get the girl, I thought was pretty cool. And then my wife, of course, comes in at the end playing this gorgeous groupie. I don't even know if that word exists anymore.
Oh, it does.
But meets me at the very end of the video and the big one on my cheek, if you remember, before I'm arrested by the Reno police, Reno's finest.
So fun. Do you control your Twitter account?
Yes.
You're super active with the positive memes and all that, but I want to kind of end on this note. Right now, trending on Twitter is describe the 80s in 5 words. I mean, you're not a man to limit yourself to 5 words, but...
way over the top.
Way over the top.
No, that's 4 words.
way over the top.
Way over the top.
All right, I love it. On that note, David Coverdale of Whitesnake, all new versions of Slide It In, including the 7-disc box set available March 8th.
Yeah, baby.
The band's 13th studio album, Flesh and Blood, out May 10th. And then the world tour begins April 12th. You're super busy, so thank you so much for your time.
Bless your cotton socks, my dear. You deserve silk.
Thank you, sir.